that.
I think I'm gonna
You're so good.
But he doesn't hold that. No, that's what he told me. He don't do and so I said,
hello, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started with our program. We're going to go ahead and get started with our program. Thank you all for being here. Before I introduce our moderator, in the center of your tables are QR codes. One of them is if you want to ask a question, you can type it out to us, and so we can make sure that we have it on file. Also, update your alumni contact information, please, if you haven't already done so. And then there's a survey about the event. And all of this was brought about from the survey we did at our the Power Breakfast or whatever we had. Yeah, so we took some suggestions, sorry, and we did that. So please fill out the survey because we do read them and we do change things as we go along. So without further ado, Mark Kelly.
Good afternoon. Welcome to our first, and I hope not last, State of the Community panel. We've got some extraordinary panelists, people who are doing extraordinary work inside our community. I am a Leadership Clarksville class of 2004 graduate, and Ted Crozier Jr. was in my class, and we're the best class.
you can sit down now.
Well, I spent 26 years in the Army. I retired as a colonel, and I used to say when I got out of the Army, I had to retire to some place that I could grow up with. Now, divine intervention, that place turned out to be Clarksville, Tennessee, and I've never looked back. I got elected to the county commission in 2002 because someone said, if you're going to complain about stuff, either do something about it. So I got myself elected, or shut up. Wound up in real estate. Got Keller Williams Realty. Didn't want to sell real estate, but one of the 5 people in my life that I could not out-talk said we're going to do real estate. So we did, and Keller Williams Realty has been my life for the last 20 years, and yet another blessing for me. Who got me to come to Leadership Clarksville? Jim Mann. And I thought I could out-talk Jim Mann because I spoke faster than he typically does. But one of the things about Leadership Clarksville and my also going to Leadership Middle Tennessee is you learn some extraordinary things. Once upon a time, people used to complain about there's nothing to do here. Well, what I learned when I went to Leadership Clarksville is that there is something to do here. You just have to go out and look for it, but it's here. And we have continued to build on that, and some of the folks that are going to talk with you later will expound on that. And then I have the honor and the pleasure of chairing the Clarksville Area Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors, and that has been 2 years hence one of my yet great experiences. So today, our panelists are Blake Monroe, who is with Visit Clarksville, Dr. Mike Licari, who is president of Austin Peay State University, a main fixture here in our community, and Buck Dellinger, who is president of the Economic Development Council. It is an organization, but when I retired, the tornado had just rolled through here about 2 years before I got here, in 1999, right, for those of you that were here. And since then, our community is what I describe as folk who, to people who grew up here. This ain't your grandpa's community anymore. We have seen some significant and extraordinary growth and change. And with that comes some challenges for which I think might get addressed a little bit today. So, my panelists, let's not keep them waiting. So, per my cue, is that thing working?
Check.
Yeah, I think it is. So, per my notes here, each of you have 10 minutes to tell this august group what it is that you do, why you do it, and maybe some challenges that people don't understand. You know, stuff just doesn't show up here as one might think. So, but since you were closest to me, I'll let you go first.
So I'll get started. Is this mic working? Okay, good. So I'm Buck Dellinger, EDC, President CEO. I was in the Army for 29 years. One of my last jobs was the Chief of Staff of the 101st and the Garrison Commander of the Mayor of Fort Campbell. So that's what I learned a little bit about municipal development and, you know, coordinating and working with the community. And so, so what do we do at the EDC? Is visit, live, work, invest. If anybody, I've talked about this in a lot of ways. Visit, live, work, invest is the cycle that we go through, and we compete the visit, live, work, invest cycle against all of the whole country and around the globe. Who does the best visiting, the best living, the best working, the best investment cycle, and we keep winning here in our community. And I got statistics to show how the state of Tennessee is beating the pants off all the other states and how we're winning within the state of Tennessee. So visit, live, work is what we do. Strategically, I'm going to go through some of the big things we've done and where we're headed. So business development, what are we doing business development wise? I mean, you know, it's all over the place. Hankook is doing their phase 2-3 expansion. They're going to have 2,100 employees. They'll be the largest employer in the next couple months. Their phase 2-3 is complete. We landed Amazon a little while ago. There's 1,500 new employees at Amazon. LG Chem is opening up in October. They're running their lines right now, so that's making cathode material. That was a $3.2 billion project that at one time that was the largest project in the state of Tennessee history. We've now surpassed that with Korea Zinc. Korea Zinc is a $6.6 billion project, the largest in the state history. It's taken over the Nearstar plant and all the development that's going around the 1,300 acres that's near the Nearstar plant. So there'll be 420 new jobs there. Our starting salary of the lowest paid employee at Korea Zinc is $84,000. So a big benefit for our community. Just between the Korea Zinc and the LG Chem projects, the tax increment and the pilot dollars coming to our community is pretty substantial. So those were two really big projects that are going to be able to change our community for a long time going forward with the influx of capital investment. St. Thomas Ascension, you know, from business development last night, we didn't need to present to County Commission because they were already briefed on it. Is you know, St. Thomas Ascension is building a $450 million complex out on exit 11. $155 million of that is from St. Thomas Hospital, and almost another $300 million of on-site, on the same site, payable, taxable medical office facilities around the original hospital. So a major complex going to be built out there by Exit 11. We're supporting that. HCA is up building a hospital off Tiny Town Road. That's another big win for us. And Encompass Health. So along with St. Thomas and Encompass Health, there's two big rehab hospitals getting built out in our community in the next little bit. So from a business development standpoint, those projects are coming. Place-based development, what we're talking about is the place-based development is these specific areas that we want to develop. I-24 corridor along with Riverside Drive and downtown. Those are our two focused areas. I-24 corridor, we're about to announce close to $500 million worth of retail development all along between exit 4 and Dunlop Lane, from the interstate all the way to the mall and all around. On June 16th, we're going to have a big unveiling at Old Glory for all Aspire members and Red Carpet Tour people that get invited to that. It's with all the developers in one place talking about all the development that's going to be done between all along both sides of Ted Crozier Boulevard, next to Vanderbilt Medical Center, and around the mall. So all that is big time retail that's about to come in. A lot of names that you're going to be excited about is coming along with them. The Vulcan property development, we're still working on that project downtown. It goes along with the Opportunity Zone update that we want to do downtown. So Opportunity Zone is the biggest federal tax incentive to help development occur in underdeveloped parts of communities. And so the updated Opportunity Zone 2.0 will likely be downtown, and it'll take in the Vulcan area along with the Conwood property. So the Conwood property is 9.6 acres right off the Commerce Street on the 9th. It used to be the American Snuff facility there. It's in great shape. We have a bunch of people looking at that property to do what is called adaptive reuse, to turn those old buildings into something new and exciting, along with the warehouses and the other areas. So that's part of the Opportunity Zone area, and it's downtown and help revitalize it. And the other things that we're doing downtown with the Lawn Project, there's some townhomes getting built downtown. We've got Jennifer Willoughby has an 81 units getting built off Madison Street. And then along Riverside Drive, we've got, I'm telling you, with coming soon, the marina will have a development down there. I believe there's a lot of people looking at there's 6 acres, almost 10 acres, 6 acres of solidly good developed land that the city has under control, that if we can get the right developer on there, we can do something exciting near the marina and really help out that part of Riverside Drive. So from a place-based development standpoint, that's what we're dealing with. Janet Wilson is working on Tennessee Main Street, so we can get some new programming going on downtown, and so excited about what we're doing there. And then the third thing I want to talk about the area is advocacy. Probably the thing that keeps me up at night the most is how do we enable Senator Powers to get us the Interstate 24 wide from 4 lanes to 6 lanes, which is in the plan right now. We've got to keep it in the plan. Thank you, Senator Powers, for that. But to improve the intersection, exits 4 and 8 are critical to all this development. And we're, the Aspire Foundation and the EDC is doing the work, along with the county, of course, about doing the traffic study and showing that we have a need with the right amount and the right type of metrics to convince TDOT to support that. So we're working on that. If you say what is our biggest strategic issue, it is the I-24 corridor widening and then the access to I-24 for our community. The second big strategic thing that we've got to get accomplished is the retail development and getting those the retail types and uses that you expect to see in major cities across the state, across the country, so that we can recruit people that want a Trader Joe's, a Whole Foods, a Costco, a Black and White, or White and Black, or something like that. And you know, Chico's, you know, my mom calls it Chico's. But all those that people that are coming from Orlando or Frisco, Texas, or from Austin, that those are the same levels of quality of life and shopping that they experience in the communities that they're coming from. So 2 big strategic issues is the interstate and our retail. That's it.
Your 10 minutes are up.
Well, thanks. My name is Blake Licari, and I'm wearing 2 hats today. You've got me as obviously the president of Washington Peay State University, and I've been in that role for a little bit more than 5 years now, started in March of 21. but also have served as the chair of the board of directors for the Chamber of Commerce, Clarksville Area Chamber of Commerce this year. And tonight I actually turned the gavel over, so as of 6 hours from now, I think I'm off the hook. So I'll talk a little bit about what each one of these organizations is doing. And I'll start with the Chamber, because it flows right from a lot of what Buck was saying. The Chamber of Commerce, obviously, is a non-governmental operation. It is a membership organization. It's comprised of about 1,000 members from the business community in the Clarksville area. And so as a membership organization, collection of businesses, our mission is to promote and support businesses in Clarksville, their development, their growth, but also the Clarksville area quality of life, right? So businesses thrive in places where, as Buck was saying, people are encouraged to live. They want to have their families here. They want to start their businesses here. They want to relocate businesses here, whatever it might be. And so our job is to support that community in as many different ways as possible. And so as a chamber, we're also plugged into and support and a part of what the EDC is doing. And so that gives me, for example, an opportunity to be plugged into all of these development projects, both as an advocate for what the chamber is doing, a supporter in that way, but then also as the university president. And I'll get to that piece of it in a minute. And so the way the chamber helps out is we've got that legislative agenda that we generate, and so that is a legislative agenda that is designed to support the growth and development of the business community, and so that a lot of that has to do with infrastructure, roads, and keeping up with our growth, because we need to put those things in place in order to continue our business development. But then we also spend a lot of time and energy providing direct support to area businesses with workshops, training sessions, sessions on how to launch a business, how to stay in business as a brand new business, all of these kinds of real practical solutions to challenges that especially small businesses might be facing. And so your membership in the chamber provides you access to a lot of these resources that will help your business, that whatever it is, thrive and grow in the Clarksville area. And then we spend a lot of time making sure that the business community is plugged in and has networking opportunities, has the strength and the connections and the vibrancy of a business community in a large and thriving city. And so we have business after hours, there's gathering points for ribbon cuttings, there are other kinds of forums, women in business forums, there's power breakfasts, all sorts of other kinds of ways that our members can stay connected. So the chamber is a really vital component of the business community. And the last thing that the chamber does is support the quality of life and economic development. So we'll take an excursion to a neighboring city to bring back ideas. The last one was up to Evansville. They've got a river and economic development project going on right now. So we went up there to steal ideas. Came back and have started to generate some conversations around what we can do downtown, what we can do along Riverside Drive. So that's a good example of supporting the long-term strategic development of Clarksville. Now, as the university president, obviously the mission of the university is to educate Tennesseans and whoever else wants to show up. But obviously, as a state institution, we focus on educating those from Tennessee and our immediate surroundings, and that does include the military. Fully 1/3 of our enrollment at Austin Peay is military affiliated, so that might mean active duty, it might mean veteran or retired, could mean guard or reserve, and it especially could be spouse or dependent. And so we're very proud of that because of our proximity to Fort Campbell. We lean into that. It's a strategically important piece of what we're doing. The other strategically important piece of what we are doing is trying to be a good return on investment for the investments of time and money that families make to send their kids to Austin Peay. It is my mission to be the best value in higher ed in the state. We keep our tuition and fees as low as possible. We have the second lowest in the state. The first lowest is TSU, and they're in Nashville, so their other expenses are far more far more higher than ours. So we are, in totality, the best value in the state. And at the same time, we want to make sure that we're providing the education and experiences that our students need to be successful after graduation. It's not good enough to just get them to the graduation stage. We need to make sure that they're placed into good careers, that they're launching their life goals once they cross our graduation stage. And we want to make sure that when they do graduate, they're not saddled with crippling debt. And so I'm very, very proud to say that our most recent complete numbers that we have, which would be for the graduates from 2025, 60% of them graduated with no debt. Very proud of that, because the national narrative is don't go to college because you'll just borrow yourself into a big hole and you'll never be able to climb out of it. And we are proving that wrong. You can get a great education and start your career, you can start your adult life after college ready to go, ready to save up money for that new house, ready to buy that car and move forward. So very proud of what we're doing at Austin Peay State University. We are an economic engine in and of itself, but it is very important for me to understand that given where we're located, right in the heart of Clarksville, that we also are plugged into the community and its economic development and economic growth. So that's me in a nutshell.
Guys, my name is Blake. I represent Visit Clarksville today. For those that don't know, Visit Clarksville is actually an entity of the EDC. So we are the tourism component of the EDC. Kim, would you mind coming and logging in real quick? Where Kim might be.
She stepped out.
She stepped out, so we're just going to go ahead and do it without the presentation for a few minutes. So Buck likes to call us the fun department. So with that being said, we're going to start off with a little competition. For each question, I'll need two people to raise their hand. Whoever gets closest to the number will receive a fancy swagged out Visit Clarksville Custom 931 hat. So the first question to start is, let's see here. Something was fixing to happen there for a second. So when it comes to tourism, because tourism in Montgomery County, when you think of Clarksville, you don't think amusement parks, you don't think of tourism, you don't think of overnight stays in the same way you would think of Sevierville, Chattanooga, Memphis, places like that. And that's just the way it is. However, you'd be kind of shocked by how much tourism that we bring in. So to start with that being said, how many counties are in the state of Tennessee? Two people. Mr. Powers is excluded. Guzman and Aaron.
95.
Okay, well, I only have one half of the question. I was hoping you'd be wrong. We'll do two, because I have a bigger prize here at the end of the last question. Okay, for Montgomery County in 2024, that is, because we still wait. So how the state numbers work is we have to wait for them to kind of come out, so we go on 2024 numbers. So out of that, where did Montgomery County rank in all of visitor spending? I only have, Lee, you're excluded too. Where's Marigold Daddy? He's excluded as well. So out of all 95 counties, where do you think Montgomery County rated in visitor spending and overall tourism? I only have one hat, so if you got it, two people get it right, I don't know what to do with that one. Need two hands. You can just make a number up. All right, sir? Fifth. Mr. Kelly, you know this answer? All right, we're going to go with Mr. Kelly. Six. The answer is number 9. So we rank in, and now, however, some of the counties do overlap. So, of course, Nashville sits between multiple counties, visitor spending, things like that. But to be able to rank ourselves in the top 10 with, when you think of certain counties and things like that, they include the Nashville, Chattanoogas, the Knoxvilles, the Memphises, the Seviervilles, things like that. Number 9 is pretty impressive. So that's a big deal. So with that being said, last question here, and I actually have 2 box seats to Alabama on June the 11th for this question. How much in 2024, how much visitor spending do you think happened in all of Montgomery County? Again, elected officials, Montgomery County employees, board members are all excluded. And the number's probably going to be a little bit higher than you think it is. So whoever's closest. It's not like the press right. If you go over, it's okay, you know? Okay, 2 hands. Channing?
3.6 million.
3.6 million? Okay. I'll let you know that's very, very low. Like, very, very low. Who's back there? CMCS.
23 million.
23 million. The answer is $419.5 million visitor spending in all of Montgomery County for 2024. So there's your tickets though. Yeah, box seats. Just reach out to Janet Wilson. There's all everything on the back to actually claim those tickets. So with that being said, Visit Clarksville is a powerhouse. And we have a staff of like 6 or 7 people. If you go to some of these bigger communities, you see staffs of like 20 and 25. So it's myself, our marketing director, our executive director. We have a sales and services manager that we do a lot for with our local community and our partners. We also then have a content creator. And then for those that don't know, Visit Clarksville manages the historic Collinsville property out in Southside. So we have 2 directors out in Southside that manage historic Collinsville. So we have a pretty small team for all that we're doing. But we're going to get to this here in a second, no big deal. I can talk about tourism all day long. I only have 10 minutes though. So it's one of those things that tourism is a big deal. And today I want to talk a little bit about the power of a visit. So of that $419 million, of course, those 3 questions kind of lay the foundation for the rest of what we're going to speak about. But because of that, oh, here we go. Oh, we're fixing to get up. Hey. Thank you, Mr. Kevin. Kim should have left her password with me. All right, we have already been through our staff. We've already been through these wonderful questions here. All right, so power of visit. So on average, Clarksville, Montgomery County sees in between 1.8 and 2 million visitors a year. Now this is not you stopped and got gas and you kept on going. This is you actually spent a considerable amount of time in Clarksville. Whether it was overnight stays, whether it was day travel, you spent time. So you could have been, you stopped at your favorite restaurant and then you went shopping. It could be that you did come in and you spent all day grocery shopping in Clarksville. But or it can be you've gone downtown, you've seen the show at the arena, you've done things at the Roxy, you've been to Austin P for orientation. This is like taking time to spend time in Clarksville. And hopefully leads to hopefully spending some money in Clarksville. But just some numbers here on average, 15% of the people in our destination were visitors, and 74% of those visitors were from outside of Tennessee. Which I know we're on the border state, so Kentucky is included, but we do see a lot of Georgia, Alabama, Indiana, Illinois. We sat up at the I-24 Welcome Center last week, and we had more Illinois people than Kentucky people come through. Now they're on their way to Florida, because it was retirement season. So of that $419 million, people think, tourism is a lot of people on the roads, they're taking our hotels, things like that. There's a big benefit to the community in this. So $419 million in visitor spending led to local sales tax of $16.1 million and a state sales tax of $26.7 million. So if you own a home in Montgomery County, because of visitor spending, your property tax bill is about $507 less per year annually because of tourists in our community. And of course you have the rest of it. That's our crap. It's a big deal. So I mean, it's one of those things when people are advocating for new development and things like that are going to bring people here. You want them, because at the end of the day, it's going to save you money, it's going to benefit the community. So of course that is 30% of all restaurant spending is from visitors, 32% of all retail spending is from visitors, and then 20% of art, attraction, and entertainment spending is from visitors. So imagine going to your favorite restaurant and they lose 33% of all their business. They're probably not going to be able to manage much longer. So it's important for us to bring people to support local. I know Wilma has a wonderful selection of everything you can think of food-wise and hotel-wise, but it's important to support local, and these numbers are what kind of showcase that in a lot of ways. So one thing I do want to mention in my brief time here is the difference between a visitor spending and hotel-motel tax. So Visit Clarksville is completely funded by the hotel-motel tax. The hotel-motel tax in Montgomery County is 8%. We get a small portion of that to fund the efforts that we do. The other portions are then disseminated in other places. So if you go and stay in a hotel, whether you're a local and you go stay in a hotel, you're going to pay that tax. If you're a tax-exempt organization and you go stay in a hotel, you are still going to pay hotel-motel tax. That is what's used to then fund us among other entities. That is not, that is included, but it's not completely included in that $419 million. The visitor spending is what the $419 million is. So a visitor through Visit Clarksville, and the way that the industry defines it, is someone who has traveled 50 miles or further and spent money in your destination. So you could have driven from Paducah, you could have gone and gotten lunch at Old Glory, and you could have kept going on, and you're considered visitor spending. Now you're not considered a visitor because you didn't stay long enough, but that money goes towards visitor spending. So 50 miles or further is a big part. So I wanted to kind of clarify that, because a lot of people go, oh my God, Visit Clarksville has $419 million sitting in a bank account somewhere, and that is not true. They want us to pay for the roads. That's not how that works. So just to clarify, the hotel-motel tax difference and then the difference between visitor spending, I think is important because it does get kind of muddled sometimes. So this is more of my job. So I work mostly, I'm senior director of sales, so I get to do a lot of different things, hotel and partnership related, but work a lot on sports and events. So just in this current FY, so July 1st, 2026 through pretty much today, Visit Clarksville has hosted or sponsored over 41 different events that has attracted 92,000 visitors to our community with a rough estimated visitor spending of $29 million and 38,000 room nights. 38,000 room nights pretty much sells out all the hotels in Clarksville 11 times over. So it's one of those things, and then a good majority of these were from downtown, different things that we did downtown, throughout the community. Clarksville is not known for any particular sport, I would say, completely. Of course, the tourism and the sports department for Visit Clarksville started with an AAU World Championship back in 1998, I believe. We hosted that all the way up through 2023, and then the sports industry for basketball got so competitive, and the venues got much larger, and they got a lot more courts in one venue. So we have pivoted and done many different things, many different avenues that have been very important to bring in visitor spending to Clarksville. Here's photos from a few of the things that we've had the opportunities to partner with just over the last year. So we do a big catfish tournament every year in the spring. The weather this year kind of held off some of the boaters. But we had about 11 different states represented at that tournament. We host the East-West All-Star game for the state every year in December at Fort Terrace Stadium in partnership with Austin Peay Athletics. We have hosted the robotics championship. We've done clay shooting, we've done hockey, cheer, gaming, cornhole. That's our favorite one. Every spring we host a professional cornhole tournament that brings over 30 different states to the community and about 600 different cornhole enthusiasts and a lot of beer sold. So if you enjoy a good time and you want to win some money, by all means check us out next spring. And we'll definitely let you get in on some of that. So some of our overnight markets. So these are some numbers left to us by our marketing department. Of course, Nashville being a quick stop, there's different things to do. We see a lot from Nashville, Atlanta. Chicago is kind of an interesting market for us, but it's something that we see a lot of people come down through here for. They stay a few nights, and whether they're going somewhere else. Our accommodations and our lodging is so much more affordable than neighboring cities. Cough, cough, Nashville. That it makes it very easy for us to retain people that want to go to Nashville, but they're going to stay in Clarksville for a few days. They're going to see what we have to offer. And many times they end up coming back to Clarksville over Nashville. So short-term, average short-term rentals, which that's Airbnbs, Verbos, things like that, 5.4 nights, and then average hotel stay is 2.4 nights. There's also a misconception because it comes down to, good one? All right. So misconception when it comes to room nights and things like that. So yes, we have a lot of industry. We have a lot of stuff going on. We have a lot of construction workers in town. However, they don't count towards hotel motel tax after 30 days. So after 30 days, that tax is remitted, and that's something that does actually go towards us. So we love industry, we love development, but we love this 2.4 nights. We love this 5.4 nights. So if you are staying in a hotel, an Airbnb, or a campground in Tennessee, you pay hotel motel tax. I'm not going to go over through the things that we do, hot places. I want to talk a little bit about what our sales department does and the things that we get to do to outreach to the community. We get to partner, so we do fam tours with all of our hoteliers. So all of our hoteliers invited to go on these familiarization tours. We meet up at the office, we put them on a bus, we feed them lunch, and we take them to 3 or 4 different attractions around town. It is maybe the only time they get out of the office and get to see something different. We also do what we call hospitality meetings, and these meetings are an intentional way to get people from the front desk to some sort of attraction. So with that being said, it's just a way for us to be able to partner with the community. We've done Cats games, we've done different things. So tourism, real money is what our commissioner likes to say, and I believe that is all my time today. So thank you guys.
Since you have the mic, Blake, there were some questions submitted, and this first one is for you. And it reads like this: with the opening of F&M Bank Arena, other businesses and attractions, has it contributed to more visitors and revenue? And you may have spoken to that already. And a follow-on question from me.
Okay.
I happened to be out on Holiday Drive or something like that, and the visitor center building is now downtown with you.
Correct.
Has that gotten the desired effect? I mean, is that actually bringing people downtown to you?
So to answer the first part of the question, so the arena, of course, is one of the largest investments in downtown in recent history. And I would say the month of March, we had the arena booked every weekend for a tourism-based event. We hosted the cornhole tournament, then we hosted the state's D2 basketball championship, which was 12,000 people over 3 days. We hosted the robotics championship for the state. Then we had a cheerleading competition that had 12,000 people over here for 2 days. So the arena has been a new asset with larger space. It's allowed us to do different things. Those hockey tournaments, things like that. And then I think because of the arena, we have seen different things pop up downtown. And pretty much the mission of downtown is to create an atmosphere, an entertainment option that allows people to then go from one thing to another to where you're not just going to eat. So the arena has allowed us to add new entertainment, new opportunities to bring people downtown that are local and that are not from here, that we get the experience to kind of welcome them to Clarksville. Something new that we've added to the arena is there's actually a downtown map. For any downtown businesses, there's a map inside guest services that has a QR code that directs people to different downtown businesses, attractions, and lodging. That's through Visit Clarksville. And as far as the visitor center, of course, if you've been down on Holiday Drive anytime recently, you've noticed the old visitor center just kind of sitting there. It sold to a recent developer not too long ago, and we've moved it downtown to 335 Franklin Street. We felt it was best housed where we were every day. And because of that, we do see a diversity of people that have either stopped by before they go to Austin Peay games. We had some away visitors come in during basketball season. We saw people from California yesterday, so we do have that, it's getting that desired effect of getting people downtown. So, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Pass it to Dr. Licari. What role do you see Austin Peay playing in the growth of Clarksville and Montgomery County? And how can community organizations better support the university's mission?
Yeah, well, I touched on it a little bit, but as a university that sits right inside of essentially downtown Clarksville, I think we've got a lot of opportunities. But I'll back up and say first and foremost, what we're doing is graduating on average 3,000 new college degree holders every single year that need jobs, and so that's a huge component of workforce development for the community. Starting already in early conversations with the 3 new hospitals in the community. On healthcare professionals, for example, leveraging our brand new health professions building, which tremendous improvement in terms of technology and square footage, and it's a great opportunity for us to help those 3 hospitals now staff up. So those are good examples. I think one thing that we're trying very hard to do is to make sure that our students, before they graduate, have as many real-world learning opportunities as they can. And what that takes is industry and business partners. We need more partners in the business community to open their doors for students to have internships locally, so that they can get some real-world experience. They can learn by doing. They can apply what they're getting in the classrooms to real settings. And that gives them a tremendous edge when they're on the job market. A lot of the times those businesses will frankly just hire those students the moment they graduate anyway, because they already know them, they've sort of trained them up in the way they do business. And so we're looking to expand those kinds of networks, those kinds of opportunities for our students, and it's good for business locally as well, because now you've got first dibs on people who are educated in Clarksville. The other thing that we're really trying to do is be good partners in downtown Clarksville, to try to make sure. One of my goals, in fact, my board set for me when I arrived, was to improve the edges of campus, to improve the seamlessness between campus and downtown. So I've been spending the last 5 years working very hard to transform those buildings down College Street, to tear down some of the dumpy properties that we've had on 2nd Street and things like that. So, we're trying to be integrated into Clarksville, and what I would like to see too is more of a college town atmosphere, especially on game days, right? So, if you're a business owner downtown, fly that Austin Peay flag. We'll give it to you. Just put it up on your doorway. Get that environment coming, because we're bringing in, as Blake was saying, we're bringing in people all the time for homecoming, for football games, for orientations, for family weekends, for whatever it is. We basically keep that DoubleTree downtown full pretty much every weekend, and so there's a lot going on that Austin Peay related, and so as a business owner in Clarksville, tap into that. We're providing a lot of customers for you. We're trying to brand ourselves as Clarksville's hometown team, You know, that's the vibe I'm looking for.
Pass it to your right, please. A fairly long question, but it is a subject that has been spoken to since I've lived here permanently. Any consideration given to utilizing the parking area and spaces between College Street, Main Street, and Franklin Street to build the Clarksville Convention Center versus building it out by the mall? Very similar to how it's done in Gatlinburg. So Oak Grove has a convention center, and the question amongst the public is, why not us?
Right. So the convention center is a big deal for us. We've got it under design right now. So we've got a concept and an estimate for it. And so we own the 69 acres that surround the Vanderbilt University Medical Center space right now. We were able to get that land in 2019. So the last 5 years, we've been developing the funding to surround that and all the development and the infrastructure to put the convention center where most of our hotels are. So about over 3,000 of our hotel rooms are out along the interstate. And so it would be great to have it downtown, but where the best locations for hotels to accommodate that is on the interstate. And we kind of learned through Murfreesboro and other places in Williamson County that having your convention center where it's most accessible is the best location for conventions. And so that's where we've got it a master plan, and the big development that we're building all around that is going to support paying for that convention center. So we're going to be able to build the convention center and pay for it off a portion of the taxes off the development that will surround it. So you won't have to reach into anybody's current pocket to pay for that convention center. So that's the plan. It's a long-term plan because we've got to build a lot of construction that are going to pay some taxes for us to take a portion of those taxes and pay for that. So it's a big TIF district out there, probably about a 300-acre TIF district. Then a portion of those dollars are going to pay for that convention center. It's the ideal in that convention center is it to seat 1,200 people at round tables. So that's about 44,000 square feet of usable space and another 36,000 square feet of behind the non-usable space for like restrooms, like a house, that sort of thing. So the master plan is an 80,000 square foot convention center, and it's pretty large. That's what we've got. That's what we're building out to. And that's what we're master planning.
Keep the mic.
Okay.
And I'm not sure that you can directly answer the question the way that it is structured. What businesses are coming to Clarksville in the next 2 to 3 years, and those who have already been approved? And I guess maybe what is safe to say, if we don't have anybody locked in, is what kinds of businesses are we recruiting, and we think we have a great opportunity.
So just like Blake, Blake, we got our visit. People come here to visit. Well, everybody that we're recruiting from a retail standpoint are regional retailers. Places, there are places where people are going to come from 50 miles away to shop there, because we're recruiting businesses that don't exist here now. So we're not recruiting IKEA, but if we were, that's what I'm talking about. And why? It's a good question, but why don't we give up who it is that we're talking to? Well, one issue of that is if people knew that we were talking to Trader Joe's and Trader Joe's was looking at that parcel, the owner of that parcel would double the price for that Trader Joe's. So we have to work through a broker, and we have to work through code names so that the sellers of properties do not double or triple the property value of that. So there's a lot of, so that's why we have to operate in secrecy on so many of these things. And it's also, we don't want to get the public too excited about things that don't happen sometimes. And I tell people it's kind of like a dating contest. We do a lot of dating. We walk up on the altar a lot with a lot of people, but until you kiss and go behind the altar and sign, it's not a deal. And so, we gotta kiss and sign. And so right now, we're just kissing a lot. Well, we've got the documents sitting on the table. We're that close. So, just keep that in mind. Those are the people we're talking to, and it goes back to what I said a little bit earlier. If it's what you're expecting to have here when you come from Orlando or Frisco, Texas, in terms of the level of shopping, that's what we're talking about now. If it's somewhere that you're coming from Paducah or Bowling Green or Dover, you're gonna come here because and I'll give you an example. 50,000 people go to Costco in Nashville from Montgomery County now.
Yes.
So how many, when you go to Costco, what is your average purchase? Probably a couple $100 before you get out the door. So 50,000 people are going there right now, spending a couple $100 a visit, and those sales tax dollars should be in our community. So, and not to grandstand even more, when people drive down the interstate, it's my goal, my vision, is for what it's worth, it might be the only person that has this vision, is I'm gonna ask people, why are you going to Nashville? Because the healthcare is here. In a couple of years, your Costco is here. Whether I get it done on this deal or Josh Ward gets it done in a year, in a couple of years, Costco is here. Trader Joe's is here. Whole Foods, Sprouts. Why are you going, unless you're going to the airport or a Preds game or suffering through a Titans game? You don't need to go to Nashville. The jobs are here, your retail is here, your healthcare is here. So that are the people, that's the kind of recruitment that we're going through, is keeping people and their money in Montgomery County and attracting more people from the surrounding counties to spend their money here, so that we can pay for the school system and pay for this growth through our sales tax and our property tax.
We have one online question thus far.
Okay, so many residents see large corporations receiving tax breaks while property taxes and the cost of living continue to rise. How do you respond to concerns that economic development incentives may be shifting more of the financial burden onto the individual taxpayer?
So the answer for that is, but for the incentive, you don't get that growth. So LG Chem property was paying, it was 460 acres, $3,000 a year in taxes for that 460 acres. So we give an incentive, and now LG Chem is going to pay us almost $300 million after incentive in 20 years. So I turned $3,000 into some number, $300 million in 20 years. So yes, there was an incentive. If we didn't incentivize that project, LG Chem goes somewhere else and takes their $300 million worth of sales tax. And don't quote that number, whoever's watching out there. It's a big number, but it's multiple times. So they were taking that money and gone somewhere else. So even though we incentivize that, we made money by 1,000x return on investment on what we gave up to get it. So that's how the game is played. And so the incentives do not shift the burden. The incentives create tax dollars, sales, and property. And it's our intent, and in most times, the return on investment comes back in 3 years. So if I incentivized it with $12 million, I make that money back in 3 years, and then we're 100% better off on year 4 for a standard incentivized project. So, but for that, you wouldn't get it. And so I'll talk about retail. You're not going to get a Costco to come to your community without incentivizing. Fort Mill, South Carolina had to give up $40 million to Costco to get them to come to South Carolina. Birmingham gave up $48 million. A city in Texas gave up $60 million. Why? Because the sales tax for an average Costco creates that much income in 3 to 5 years for the local community. So you're not gonna get some of these grand retails without some incentive investment. And trust me, we get those dollars back quickly because of the amount of sales tax that they bring to the community. Otherwise, we wouldn't do it. Every time, sorry, whoever's watching out there, you've got to be able to walk away from a deal when you're negotiating these things. You know where the line is. The mayor helps us find the line. Community helps us find the line. We see where that line is, and you got to be able to know that this is our offer. If it walks, it walks, and if it does, it goes. But if it's a good deal for the community and if there's some incentive involved, it's a good deal for the community, and it all makes sense.
Well, as I reviewed the questions that have been provided for me to ask, I see Blake's name once, Dr. Licari once, and it seems to be the Buck Dellinger show.
The Blake show was pretty strong.
If someone has a question out there, hang on, I'm coming back to you. There's one other on here that I thought was pretty apropos for us this afternoon, and it says, do you think there will be an option for another company like Buc-ee's to come to our area to bring good paid jobs and attract tourist sales tax?
There's nothing like Buc-ee's. I mean, there is no other, Buc-ee's. Right. Wawa was a big deal. Buc-ee's, is a lot of traffic. And a lot of traffic on Tylertown and Tiny Town Road there, and Trent Road would have been pretty devastating for that community. So, yes, they would have created a lot of sales tax and a lot of regional sales tax and pass-through sales tax. That would have been a very, very tough location for our community up there on the north side. So, I think like I mentioned, the regional retailers are who we're talking to, and they all see the volume of visits, just like a Buc-ee's. Those are the types of people we're talking to right now. So I'm excited about our future. The market, we're in that market. Where are we right now from an income standpoint? The key metrics that make us attractive. 5 years ago, when I took this job, our median household income was $51,000. Right now, it's $76,000, $24,000 increase in about 6 years. So that's a substantial growth. LG Chem, most of those jobs are six-figure jobs, about half of them. As I mentioned, Korea Zinc, $84,000 is starting salary, lowest paid production employee. So we're only bringing in employers that are paying above median household income, and these are individual earning salaries I was talking about, not 2 or 3 incomes in a house. So all that is great for our retail recruitment because we've hit that market that works for our community. And so the retail is very excited about their opportunities in Clarksville, and we're seeing a lot of interest.
Any questions from the audience? Yes.
Can you speak on the improvements to the Cunningham Bridge to accommodate all the more traffic with the New Star improvements?
Okay, the Korea Zinc Bridge?
Yeah.
Yep. So, try not to be too technical. I'm an engineer by training. So that's a 2-truss bridge. It used to be a 3-truss bridge by federal standards. It's been, the state gave us $40 million to repair that bridge. Right now, TDOT is under some level of an analysis to see whether they're going to replace that whole bridge. The county did a great job of replacing the culverts along River Road so that we've got unlimited access into the project of Near Star, but it's rail served and barge served. So the big, heavy traffic is going to come in by river and rail. But we could be looking at one, either adding a 3rd truss to that bridge or replacing it in total. And the state has that in their decision to. And there's other strategies involved in access out there, but that's where we are right now.
Anyone else?
I have a quick question. It's for Blake. I thought I'd mix it up a little bit. You talked about visitor spending, like they could come and shop at Kroger all day long. How do you track what is visitor spending versus what is Clarksville spending?
So that's a lot of numbers, a lot of math that goes into that. So all of our numbers for that kind of stuff come from the state of Tennessee. So the Department of Economic Development, they're the ones, and Tourist Development, they're the ones that calculate all that. However, how we track our visitors and visitor spending are through a few platforms. So Visit Clarksville invests in platforms like Zartico. So if you've heard that or not, it's a tourism spending kind of tracker database. We also invest in a platform called Placer AI. It's a little creepy when you talk about it, but it's a pretty cool platform. So Placer AI allows us to track, so go ahead and opt out of some of these apps on your phone. We're able to track certain movement within the market based on cell phone usage. And this allows us, then it goes into a professional database that is then filtered and then tells us and infers us how many people stay in one area. So we're able to track different events over at Austin P. We're able to track different events at the arena. The only thing we cannot track, of course, are schools, churches, and government buildings. We're not allowed to track traffic in any of that. And this allows us to figure out how many people are coming to the market. This is how we figure out Costco, 50,000 people leaving the market to go to Costco through platforms like this. It's all industry standard, so being able to infer that. And then from the sports side, we invest in a platform tracker called Destinations International. It's a event calculator. So we're able to go in there, put in how many people traveled, how many people stayed overnight, what was the average room rate that weekend, and then it gives us kind of what the overall economic impact is. So when you saw that $29 million up there, that is all generated through the Destinations International calculator. And then from there, it breaks down that $29 million into, this is what local sales tax was, this was the inferred of restaurant spending, venue spending, things like that. They're all industry stated and industry backed numbers. So I hope that helped answer your question. So the main $419 million though comes from state research. And it's given to every county, it's online, so you're more than welcome to go check and see what other counties are bringing in, because it's all online, all public record. Thank you.
I have 5 more minutes. Anyone else? Dr. Licari, your board recently granted you a 3% increase in tuition costs. Is it too early to tell whether or not that will impact enrollment for you in this upcoming school year, or is it going to take you a year to see what the effects was?
Well, first I'll be clear, the board meets Friday, so they haven't voted yet. It's a proposal. It's a proposal for a 3.23% increase in tuition and mandatory fees. That is the lowest, substantially lower than any other LGI in the community, in the state, so any of the other locally governed institutions. They're all coming in at 4.5%. Except for Tennessee Tech, which is coming in at 5.7%. And so we're coming in with a very low tuition increase, and it gets back to my commitment to being the best value in higher ed in the state of Tennessee. We need to be able to commit to holding cost increases down. Costs do increase. Every university, every business, every government knows this, right? That you need to then make sure that you are hitting 2 things sort of at the same time. One is a commitment to maintaining and improving quality. So you don't want to let good things start to erode. You also don't want to not have enough money to make wise investments in places that do need the additional dollars. But you also need to balance that against not pricing out your student body. And so that's why we settled on that amount that allows us to have sufficient resources to maintain and continue to improve quality, while also hitting it so that the student body is not going to get priced out of a degree. Like I said, our tuition and fees are already very, very low. Our students are able to get through their degrees without debt for the most part. And so I don't think this is going to impact our enrollment, because those prices are going up everywhere across the state, and ours is the lowest.
Thank you very much. Let's appreciate our panelists today. Before I turn over, I'm a 2004 1994 graduate of Leadership Clarksville. Is anybody earlier than that? And for those of you who are in this year's class, if you are, you raise your hand. So,
All of 2006, there's a lot of you here. Or 2026, sorry.
So, I hope this grows, and what I hope most is, and I know that every executive director and every board has more or less struggled with, how do we get the alumni to be more invested in Leadership Clarksville? And today is a small sample size, but it's a good sample size, and let's see if we can make this better the next time we do this. The next thing that I wanted to do was to recognize the chairman of the Public Relations Committee that's partly responsible for putting this up, Brenda LeClaire, who's been walking around today. Thank you to you and your committee. And the other one is the Alumni Engagement Committee, which is headed by Kimberly Wiggins, who is absent, but
Oh, he'll stand in, he'll stand in.
yeah, sure.
Thank you.
So again, thank you all, thank you panelists. We appreciate the information. It's really great information. It's extraordinary work that's going on. And it is now my pleasure to introduce the Vice President of the Board of Directors for the Leadership Clarksville, my brother and friend, O'Neill Wiggins.
Thank you, Mark. So I made a couple of notes. I'm gonna have to put my glasses on. Yeah, sometimes you can't understand your own reading, right? So, but I want to say thank you. As we conclude today, can y'all hear me? As we conclude today's Leadership Clarksville Alumni Power Summit, I wanted to begin by expressing our sincere appreciation to our moderator, Mark Kelly. Thank you so much for guiding the conversation and helping us explore important topics impacting our community. I also want to thank our outstanding panelists, Dr. Michael Licari, Buck Dellinger, and Blake Monroe. Thank you for sharing your insights, your leadership, and your vision for the future of Clarksville and Montgomery County. Please join me again for giving them a round of applause. So today's discussion reminds us that the future of our community depends on strong leadership, meaningful partnership, and engaged citizens. The opportunities ahead are exciting, and it's encouraging to hear from our leaders who are helping shape what comes next. On behalf of Leadership Clarksville, thank you for investing your time with us today. Whether you are a recent graduate, a longtime alumnus, a community partner, or a future leader, your involvement strengthens this organization and our community. So as we leave today, I encourage you to stay connected, not only with Leadership Clarksville, but with one another. Continue building relationships, sharing ideas, finding ways to serve. Leadership is not a title.
I found this on the web for 5 ways to
It's a commitment to making our community better for those who live here and for those who will call it home tomorrow. Thank you again to our panelists, our moderator, our sponsors, our volunteers, and to each of you for being here today. Have a wonderful afternoon and drive safely.